I'm wishing the organizing team a lot of energy to do more of this year on year. I've been here a few hours, but then I've enjoyed every second of it. Your school management has a broader vision that is visible, right? It's end of day human metrics that we are all trying to fit into. Yes, whether it's a success or a failure, I don't believe in any of that. From deep within, we should believe in ourselves to actually move away from things that don't work for us. So this young population holds the key to our future. Don't take anything for granted. Know your limits is my one. Let's just be honest, sincere, committed to what we are here for, to what we are here to do. Then let's just get it done. That's all.
Hi guys, this is Ssvm Transforming India Conclave's podcast. We have with us today Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy, an environmental activist. He works towards environmental preservation and social justice and has managed to create a global impact. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. We're really glad to have you here.
Thank you, Faiza. I'm also excited about the conversation we're going to have.
Sure.
And many congratulations to your school for pulling off such a massive conclave where I'm able to interact with so many young people with such bright ideas. So thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Starting off with our first question, it's generally, how was your experience with the conclave? What do you think about
Oh, it's brilliant. I'll tell you why. Conferences, conclaves are usually a melting pot. It brings many ideas together, external, internal. And we, in a mundane routine, it's a break from that mundane routine, right? In that same school campus where we've only been through classes, suddenly you're seeing so many outsiders. And for us, when we come from outside to interact with school students, with all their ideas. Just a few minutes ago, a young man walked up to me and said, I have a working model on waste management. And he is in 7th grade, right? So a 7th grader with a waste management working model is something which I would not have expected before walking into this school. When I come here, when I get to hear from that young man about his working model, I'm curious, excited because he gives me hope, right? So for me, this conclave is encouraging. It gives me hope to look forward to something, and I'm wishing the organizing team a lot of energy to do more of this year on year.
Yes, sir. And what do you think was the best part of the conclave? What did you enjoy the most?
To maybe make you happy, I'll tell you this podcast. But in general, every interaction with students such as you through the day has been phenomenal. Every single individual who's walked up to me, who's told me their stories, who's actually shared their project ideas with me, who's taken number, email, shared their contacts with me and told me, can we brainstorm? Can we? So it's I've been here a few hours, but then I've enjoyed every second of it.
Really glad to hear that, sir. And what do you think about the school management? Do you have any suggestions
See,
in mind?
Your school management has a broader vision that is visible, right? It's not just about putting together a conclave, inviting few people, and then putting out photos, videos, but then setting the theme. And every discussion, right? Every discussion immediately after my session on stage, your management, the senior leadership and the junior leadership, younger leadership, if I can call them that, both actually spoke to me about how we're going to engage all the 10,000 students in nature conservation. Now that is something which is promising, and I only wish a lot more energy for the leadership which is running the school, and I'm truly hopeful that they will be able to bring a lot of change. You are one of the most established school brands in the country, and there's no denying it, right? Anybody is on a Indigo flight, they actually open the magazine, your school's been written about, right? Your school is everywhere. People talk about your school. When your school does something, other schools will also want to catch on. So it's a healthy competition we're looking at. So to your management, I have only a big request. Somehow keep environment the larger focus, and I wish them all energy and all focus towards nature conservation, and we are with them for that.
So, now this question in particular was very excited to ask you. So if we consider our present education system, it's mostly targeted towards scoring marks. And what me and including all the others, we usually recite the lessons, we memorize everything, and then we write it down for exams. And this is just for examination point of view. And last year, if I recall, we had this lesson in social studies called water resources. And like I said, I had to memorize the lesson to get marks. Now, this is the mindset for all the students out there. So, what do you have to say about this, and how do you think the Indian education system can be changed to find its potential target?
I can give honest, brutal answers. Yes.
Yes.
I'm actually bored because I'm 37. You must be in your teens. Not must be. You are in your teens. And from the time I've been in school, we've been talking the same thing. Now, this is kind of boring, it's stagnant, and why just keep blaming the system? And our system also has the dynamics that if you want to break away from the system, you can. Nobody's compelling you to be in the system, right? I am one of the breakaways, right? Academically, I enjoyed what I did. Was I a star performer? Definitely not, right? Today, who actually adjudes what is success? Tell me. It's end of day human metrics that we are all trying to fit into. Yes, whether it's a success or a failure. I don't believe in any of that. If somebody feels choked, somebody feels claustrophobic about such a system, break away from the system, have the self confidence. That's all. From deep within, we should believe in ourselves to actually move away from things that don't work for us. That's my humble request. And I'm not saying that's how it should be. People who want to be in the system, score marks, brilliant, do that. People who don't want to, move away from it. It's not the end of the world. Yes. And somehow things have changed. From I went to a beautiful school system where we were never forced or compelled into the number game. And now when I see there's a lot more pressure on younger people such as you to excel in different examinations, and there is also a population that is strongly moving, detesting such claustrophobic acts, and then is moving away from it, and then they're trying to do something different. Example, your involvement in sports, music, or what you're doing right now in your school, yes, hosting this podcast, all this is varied interests, and I'm already seeing all this pick up very fast, rapid, and I'm sure those who want to be in the system will continue to be in it. Those who want to break away from it are breaking away from it beautifully and hosting podcasts like you.
Yes, thank you. And what do you think school students can do to, have the bigger picture and contribute to the environment, protecting it?
School students are the biggest change makers available today. We are one of the youngest countries, yes, in terms of our population. So this young population holds the key to our future. If you guys are going to continue exactly the same path that my generation and the previous generation did, then I'm not sure where we're headed. But if you guys decide to course correct, and if you're ready to offer the leadership to put focus on the planet and take everybody along, not be opinionated, not be judgmental, but be logical, be result oriented, and focus on things, I'm sure we are up for something very exciting.
Okay, sir. And what is one habit that you expect everyone to inculcate so that we can help in environmental protection? One thing you'd want everyone
Don't
to
take anything for granted. Yes.
Yes.
Be within your limits, please. Don't take anything for granted. Be within limits, whether it's consumption of digital media to plastic to others' time to everything. Yes. So don't take anything for granted. Know your limits is my one take.
Okay, sir. And many people are usually very conservative, especially in Indian families, and they choose between professions like, say, a doctor or engineer. What made you take such a bold decision regarding your career?
First of all, I was not eligible to become either a doctor or an engineer with my scores. I'm so grateful for that. Yes. Second of all, there were multiple other options available. Wherever I went, I was able to be at peace in doing things. I've always been a responsible guy. I've never shied away from my responsibilities, and I've not wasted time. Yes, I've done things in life. Just that I've not done the things expected from the conventional setup, and I've been fortunate to have a family and a growth environment in which many of us, you're seeing me, but then there are so many of my peers who are doing so much more greater than me, and I'm nowhere compared to where they all are. So we've just found our calling, and then we just following it up. It's simple. One big other request is, let's not even romanticize anybody doing anything, right? That's what we're here for. Let's just be honest, sincere, committed to what we're here for, to what we're here to do, and then let's just get it done. That's all.
All right, sir. And this is one technical question to you. In the northern part of our state, many usually say that there's extreme water shortages. So, given its topography, do you think it's possible to construct an artificial lake there?
All lake systems that were developed in this country were at one point natural gradient which was understood by the civilization at that point and redeveloped or from scratch developed into reservoirs, right? The system tanks of Coimbatore, the system tanks of Sivagangai, which is a lot more drier than Chennai, yes, or the beautiful oxbow lake systems of Chennai, Bangalore, wherever we are seeing. All this is situational leadership. Our forefathers and foremothers had the clarity that we are dependent on nature and her resources. So they ensured that they lived in harmony with nature, they got things done. That's all. So definitely, yes, all the lakes are almost artificially developed only. Nature takes over and weaves her magic on it, and it is possible, and we should develop a lot more than what exists currently.
Yes, sir. And we generally cut a lot of trees, right, for construction
Yeah.
purposes and all that. And as we all know, it's a source of oxygen. So, how do you think we can overcome this issue?
Definitely more afforestation. Don't cut the existing trees.
And the trees we cut are also ages old.
Ages old. Yes.
Ancestral trees.
See, again, I'll ask you something. Faiza, no?
Yes.
Faiza, look, you and I are going to drive between Coimbatore and Metupalayam. Let's say in your school bus, so we are all being driven, or we are going together, all of us. We want a broader road. Yes, at one point in time, I am being told Coimbatore to Metupalayam, the road used to have such large
True.
trees which used to form a canopy, making it an arch. Now those trees don't exist. And the human hypocrisy lies in the fact that I'm driving in that road at 60 kilometers, 80 kilometers per hour speed, and then I'm expecting broader roads, more elevated corridors, and everything. And then I'm like, are they're cutting all the trees? Yes.
Yes.
And then I talk about somebody dumping all the dyeing waste into Noyal and Kaveri, but then I go buy this kurta which is blue colored. So where did this dye come from? Yes. I am talking about airline industry polluting it, and I'm taking an aircraft. I'm talking about plastic waste, and then I'm actually using everything that's use and throw. So whether it's afforestation, deforestation, whether it's plastic pollution, whether it's river, lakes contamination, it all starts from an individual. It's very easy to just put the blame on the government, corporate. I'm not saying they're not to be blamed. They have to be questioned. But as an individual, are we right? Are we making the right choices? Are we being smart in thinking about the planet? If we start thinking at that level, many more trees won't be cut. A lot more public transportation will be used. Maybe when you and I actually start demanding, they will introduce more trains between Coimbatore and Metupalayam that can reach faster than the road. And don't you think a train journey is a lot more enjoyable compared to driving on the road? And I'm sure people like you and your fellow peers in school would actually love using public transport, a good train system, a good all of that, rather than all of us having those big cars and just moving around. Just because we have the resource, we should not waste, right? And that's where maturity comes. Rich is a state of mind, it's not the state of resource, according to me. And to be rich in thoughts is what we should aim at achieving.
Okay, so as we come to the end of our podcast, I'd like to ask you one final question.
Yes.
If there's one thing each of us can do to contribute to a healthy environment, what would you suggest that to be? Everyone, young, old.
Look deep within, look at what all you're using and how things that you use are actually having a negative impact on the planet. And can you reduce? Can you refuse? Can you cut down? That's what is the biggest ask. Push of a button, just don't keep ordering stuff, right? And because we have resources, let's not spend it, let's not waste it. Let's look at how we can consume less. Minimalism is the biggest request to every single person who's watching it, listening to this, and maybe through strong speakers such as you, the request I will put forward also, as you grow, you're the future, as you grow, right? In your school, you're in 11th grade, you're going to move into 12th. I'm sure you'll become some kind of a student leader. Somehow through the rest of the 15, 16 months that you have left in the school, or 18 months that you have left in the school, think about how you can make this a minimalistic campus, yes? And in your friend circle, in the larger, become the voice for minimalism. The young men who are standing there listening to us, or you, my only request to all of you is minimalism is the way to go forward. And if you can all become champions and ambassadors for that, nothing like it.
Thank you so much for that advice, and I'm sure everyone will follow
It's
it.
not an advice, it was a humble request.
A request,
I'm nobody.
everyone will definitely follow it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. It was great talking
Thanks to you, your school, and all these wonderful technicians who are here putting this together and beautifully hosted. Thank you.
Thank
Jai
you,
Hind.
sir.